Good evening and welcome to Suffering in Silence with Pastor Tia here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Love Bay family, we are continuing to rise out of the ashes together. Our topic on this evening is telling my story. And so what's going to happen on tonight, Love Bay, I'm actually going to be answering some questions that have been asked of me of my personal experience with domestic violence. So we have with us our co-host for the evening, Erin Mitchell, our holistic health coach. Thank you, Erin, for being here. Listeners, if you have any more questions for me or comments for myself or for Erin, you can email us at sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com, or you can text us at 437-778-3299. If you're watching via YouTube, you can also submit questions via YouTube, Facebook. You can submit questions that way or your comments, and we will see them and respond. If you also have any resources that you would like to share with us on a national or local level from your country, your community, any local organizations, or your faith community, you can also email us at sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com. And with that, Erin, if you would greet our listeners and viewers on tonight.
Yeah. Hey, thank you everybody for tuning in to Suffering in Silence this week with Pastor Tia. I'm so excited to be here with all of you and really get to learn more about Pastor Tia's experience that probably was one of the major impetuses for her being able to do this show and have her own organization. Rise Out of the Ashes, which I'm a part of with Pastor Tia. And yeah, we're here to listen to her tonight and to her story, and hopefully with the dynamic conversation, the questions that she's able to answer, you'll be able to relate with your own personal stories as well. And like she said, please send additional questions or comments to the station if you have them. And for me, my name is Erin Mitchell, and I have a background in holistic health, both with acupuncture and herbal medicine, and then also a holistic coaching certification. And I want to just say that my own personal experience with different types of violence that it caused trauma in my life led me to do what I do. So for all of you out there that are in it or, not far out of it, I just want you to know that these experiences, at least for me, and we'll hear more from Pastor Tia later, they have, really helped me to pave my way in the world and what I bring and what I offer, and have, not that everybody has to go through negative experiences to bring their gifts to the world, but if you do, for me at least, it certainly has added to my experience and my empathy and what I'm able to offer and bring to others from those experiences. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Pastor Tia, for your story tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Erin. So we do want to start with sharing some resources. As Erin mentioned, our nonprofit, Rise Out of the Ashes, Inc., if you would like to help us financially as we provide immediate and emergency funding for victims and survivors dealing with issues related to domestic violence. Our address is P.O. Box 15. We're in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania, 19026. If you would like a check, you can make it out to Rise Out of the Ashes, Inc., or you can visit GoFundMe and find our nonprofit that way. You could donate online. I want to share the Arizona Coalition to End Sexual and Domestic Violence. Their website is acesdv.org. Their number is 602-279-2980. Or you can dial 1-800-782-6400. Their hours are Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Tuesday is their late evening. They start at 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. We also have the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services National Helpline. Their number is 800-662 4357. The National Domestic Violence Hotline, their website is thehotline.org, and their phone number is 1-800-799-7233. And then we have the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Their phone number is 800-656-4673. You can also chat online at their website, which is rain.org, RAINN.org. If you want to chat online, you can go to online.rain.org. And with that, we move into our topic on tonight, telling my story. And Erin, you are absolutely right, at least for me, because of my experience with domestic violence, because of what I have been through, because of my story. This is why I do what I do. This is where my ministry came from. This is where my nonprofit came from. This is why I'm here. This is why I have this radio program. And again, as Erin mentioned, you do not have to go through something hurtful to do something good or to do something positive. But the reason that I do what I do is because of what I went through. I'm quite sure I would have been doing something good, but that was the experience that I had, and this is what God led me to do. So what I wanted to do on tonight was answer some questions that I've been asked. I've been asked these particular questions several times. I've been asked these questions by men and by women. And before I go into the first one, I want to say, I really want to emphasize to everyone, this is my story. These are decisions that I made. This is what I do or don't do. And I'm saying that because everyone has their own experience. You know what works for you and what doesn't. So don't do something that I've done just because I did it. Don't say something that I've said just because I said it. I'm in my own shoes. I know what works for me. I know what's safe for me. I know what I can handle. I know what I can't handle. So I wanted to throw that out there. It's really good to, I believe, have examples. It's good to have some support, but at the end of the day, you have to make decisions based on your own experience. What you can do, what you can't do, what you can live with, and what you can't live without. So having said that, a question that's often asked of me is about my children, and I don't discuss my children. And so that's always my answer. I do not discuss them in any kind of way. I will say that the only thing he could use to hurt me was my children. And so that's where I leave it with them. But a specific question I was asked about custody. And so that I give my thoughts on. When it came to custody, I have 5 children. And when I left, 4 of my children were with me. The oldest was old enough to be out on their own. So my oldest wasn't in the home, but I had 4 children under 18. The 3 oldest were 17, 16, and 14. And so when I left with them, I didn't even consider having to deal with custody because they were all so close to 18, and I just wasn't worried about that. But my youngest child was a little over a year old when I left. That was my concern. And so I did file for custody. I wanted custody of my child because I did not want there to be a moment where he just decided, I have her, I'm not bringing her back. Or there was an agreed day and time that she's supposed to be back. And he said, well, I changed my mind. I'm going to keep her long or whatever. I did not want to go through anything like that. And I knew that he was just that spiteful that he would do something like that. So my concern for custody was with my youngest child. And so I did what I needed to do. I filed for custody. I got what I wanted. I wanted her. This was already happening, but I wanted the legal documents. I wanted the court papers to say, this is what it is. so he couldn't just disappear with my child. She lived with me full time. He saw her, basically he had visitation of a few hours a week. I just wanted something on paper. I wanted a legal seal. I wanted the documents, and that's what I got. He did not fight me on custody because he did not want to have a baby full time with him. He did not want that. And I knew that, and I used that to my advantage. So custody for my teenagers, I wasn't worried about. The baby, I was. So I did get that paperwork, and that was a process that I had to go through. Having to deal with courts, it was a headache because I had a different court for everything. I had one court for custody, there was one court for child support, and a different court handled my divorce. So I was dealing with 3 different courts all at the same time. There were different dates, different paperworks, and one didn't want to hear anything about the other. So when I went for child support, they didn't want to hear anything about they didn't want to hear anything about the custody. They didn't want to hear anything about domestic violence, nothing. Whatever you were there for, whatever I was in front of a judge for, that's the issue that I had to deal with, and any other factors weren't considered. So as far as custody, I got what I needed with the youngest. I was happy with that. And again, for me, I just needed the documents to say, this is what it is. Because in my mind, I was thinking, what else will he do? What could he do? And I knew that there's a very strong possibility that it could happen. So I wanted to avoid that. So that's it. So I don't, Erin, if you want to throw something in here, or before I move on, or
just to say that I think that's a really important piece that a lot of people don't have enough information on, and I think it's something that can be very overwhelming to start to think about the what ifs and the what woulds and all of that. And so I think just you laying that out for your personal experience is important, and everybody's will be so completely unique with that. So I guess maybe just as a follow-up on that topic, how did you get through even though you said you separated out to consider the custody of your youngest, how did you handle in that moment the overwhelm of those court systems when you were, I would assume, so emotionally impacted by what was happening?
It was, I handled it because I did one thing at a time. I took one part at a time, and it was overwhelming, and it was frustrating, but also at that time it was like I couldn't let my emotions get the better of me. Not when I was dealing with those issues. It was like, I'm upset right now. I don't have time to cry right now. I don't have time to be frazzled right now. I need this paperwork. And so, and I did what was most important to me at the moment. So custody wasn't the first thing that I did. Once I was in my own home and I was situated, then I began to think through the process, what I needed. The first thing that I did was file for child support. Now that was after, I had a conversation. We had an agreement, what he was going to be financially responsible for. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. So then I had to file for child support. So I did that. I started that paperwork. I started going through that court system, getting that ready. And I think it was maybe within a few months, then I filed for, I don't remember if I filed for the divorce next or the custody next, but whichever, I did one of them next, did that paperwork, got through that, and then did the next thing. And it's just like so much happened. It's like I can't remember like dates and times. Like sometimes some of it is just jumbled, but I know I did it, and I did them at different times. What was most important to me, what I needed, and it it wasn't easy. It was nerve-wracking, but again, it was like when, you're standing in front of a judge for your child. Like, this isn't the time for me. Like, this isn't the time to cry. I need you to hear what I'm saying. This is what I need. This is the situation. So it was a little bit at a time. And I think that can help an individual if you don't put so much on yourself. Like, there's a lot that you have to get done when you're starting your life over, especially when you're starting your life over because you're coming out of or you're dealing with trauma. So it's like the domestic violence was there. I had to deal with that. I had to deal with the effects of it. But now I have my family, I have my finances, I have my home. I have to get this stuff in order. So it's like you don't have time to sit in one corner dealing with one situation. And then having said that, it's like I couldn't let it overtake me to the point where I completely shut down. Now, there's a lot that I don't remember being in that house with him. There are some days I only remember being at work and then being home. I don't remember getting to work. I don't remember getting home. I just remember being in those two places and functioning however I needed to function while I was there. So there are like gaps of time that I don't remember, but I do know. I knew within myself I have to go to work because I need to get paid because I have to take care of my children. I have to get out of here, and when I get out of here, I have to maintain a home to take care of them, and that meant I have to go to work, which means I can't stay in a bed and cry. I can't do that. Nobody else is writing me checks or taking care of me. I have to get up and go to work and do what I need to do. I have to file this paperwork and get through these courts because I refused, after all that I've been through, I refused for one of my issues to be my baby is gone. I don't know where she is. I wasn't going to deal with that. And because of my experience, I was foreseeing what could happen. And I was trying to cut it all off, but before it's going to happen in my mind. And like one day, she's a year old, she's going to be 5, she's going to be 8, then she's going to be 10. Like, what's going to happen? What is he going to do, or what is he going to try to do? So I think seeing the big picture, but not letting it overwhelm me to the point to where I couldn't make decisions and move where my children were concerned. And that was just, again, taking one piece at a time. And not to say that it was easy or that it felt better, doing one thing at a time. It was still, horrible just to be in that. But I think that's a helpful thing to focus on one thing at a time.
Yes,
like I didn't need to. Now there at some point I had like the open cases in all the courts at the same time, but I didn't go file all the paperwork together. Again,
right.
It was one at a time when I needed to do it.
Yes, that's so helpful. It's so refreshing to hear because even some 12-step programs or different types of processes where you're getting out of a really tough place. It truly is. And even in spiritual teachings, it's about the present moment and the breath and staying with that heartbeat that is one beat at a time. And that's really who we are. And so just to follow that path on a tangible level to get out of a really difficult situation is super brave and super wise. And I'm sure that is exactly what some of our listeners needed to hear tonight. So thank you.
Well, thank you. So another thing I've been asked about is being online. Unless somebody somewhere has pictures of me or whatever, I don't post pictures of myself online. I think I don't know, maybe it was a couple months ago or so that I gave TYB and Janice a picture of me to use with Love Bay. And that's not a recent picture. I mean, it's me, but it's not a recent picture. That picture is years old. But I don't post pictures of myself. I think within the last couple years, I think there were 2 people who asked if they could take my picture, and I said, okay, because we were at an event, different events or gatherings, and I was okay with it. Like, I knew they weren't going to do anything crazy with it, but I'm just not. I'm not a picture person. I'm not okay with just having, myself just all over, like on the internet. And that's directly because of my experience, what I went through. For me, it's like it's a safety mechanism. I don't have a website. We don't have a website yet for our nonprofit. One, I don't want to spend the money on that right now because I feel like money to be spent on a website, we can use that money to help people. But also, in all honesty, I'm not ready for that myself. I don't use social media. I have Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. That's all for ministry. If you look, that's all going to be suffering in silence. It's been years since I had Facebook. Like, I closed down everything. At one point for ministry, when I had a different ministry, I had a website, I had everything, and he hacked into he didn't hack into it. He had all the information because he built it. Like, he's in technology. Like, he can build computers from scratch. So he did my website and everything. He went into my website. He did whatever he wanted to do. He hacked my email. He just as far as technology goes, I really have a thing with that. Like, I can't handle that. Like, I know when we do move forward and we have a website for our nonprofit, logically, I know he does not have access to that information. He can't get into it. He cannot get into my emails right now. I understand that, but it's still a thing for me to deal with. So even now, YouTube, Instagram, I don't touch that. Jen does that for me. So somebody that I trust, I have to hand that over to, because it's a trigger for me. It really is. So I can't have anything to do with the technology part. So even when we do have a website, I don't want my picture up. I don't want any references to me that makes me feel uncomfortable. I just don't like it. And I'm not the person anyway to be like taking pictures of myself and videos. Like, this is what I had for breakfast and this is what I'm wearing today. And like tracking myself. I don't like that. And because of my experience and what I've already been through, like that's a real thing for me. That's a turnoff for me. Like, people with cameras in my face, and like, why? Why do you want this picture? What do you want to do with it? Because my mind goes to the worst of my experience. And it's, for me, it's not having control. Like, once you have this information, where's it going to go? What do you want to do with it? So when he took my the website down, it was like I had so much information in it. I had sermons, just everything, and it was like I was at his mercy because he had it. Like, there was no way I could get this information back from him, and I just can't see going through any kind of scenario like that again. Like, I just can't. It's just too much for me. And again, logically, I know that there's no way he would be able to get into my information now with a different company and things like that. That's just a bad taste for me. And I can't say that that's something that will just go away, So I can't say that there will ever be a time that when it comes to technology that I won't have another person dealing with that, because it's just too close to me, too close of what I experienced. I absolutely do not like my personal contact information being shared without my permission. I have several different email addresses, and they each serve a different purpose. I have several different phone numbers. They each serve a different purpose. But if you have my personal number, like if you have my personal cell phone number, if you have my personal email address, I do not want that information given out to anybody without my consent. And again, that's a thing of control. That's who's able to contact me, in that personal way. And again, my mind goes to, why are you contacting me anyway? Why do you want to talk to me? Like, what is it? Um, and it's not always going to the extreme of this person wants to, like, they have bad intentions. But no, I really want to know why, especially if I did not give you my information directly. Why do you have it? What is your intent? I value my privacy greatly. So, Erin, a lot of times we have to talk in front of audiences because of what we do. We put ourselves in the public eye for a reason, for a purpose. But when we step off the stage, when a radio program is done, when a speaking event is over, when whatever it is, when we're finished, we're finished. And in my personal life is my personal life. So there is a door that I close and that I guard, because I don't want just anybody in my space to cause any harm to myself or to my children. And I have seen that even with good intentions, sometimes people can cross a boundary. And I don't know why, but I've seen that people in different areas, be it ministry or business or personal, sometimes people think that they are supposed to have a certain access to you. And it's like, no, you you haven't earned this space right here. Or I don't know why you think that you can just have access to me that way, but you can't. So I'm very, very, very guarded with my privacy. So I'll stop there for a sec if you want to.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, this is a topic very close to my heart. And I just want to acknowledge you for your really healthy boundary that you were able to create, and very crystal clear in yourself and your body and your energy, that no, that's, you're not gonna blend the lines. You're not going to mince words. You're not gonna wonder if you should do it a different way so that you can, be whatever it is for anybody else but yourself. And that's really the level of self-respect and self-worth that we want for all of our listeners, to know what's best for you based on your situation and your experiences, to know what what touches your wounds, and to keep those things away, so that you can maintain your balance. And so I really want to honor those decisions that you've made. And I think they're very inspiring, especially in a time when we are told and sold the story that we have to be out there in order to be successful. Yeah. We have to be out there in order to be connected. We have to be out there so that, professionally we can advance, or, even personally through friendships and connections. And I think that you're a perfect example of, like, no, that, it either works for you or it doesn't. And so I just really, I agree. I got off of social media in 2021, and I don't have the same sense in the website world, but at the same time, like, it's all things that each of us has to consider in this new day and age, when our information can get hijacked by people that we know and people that we don't know. And it can be used for bad, not only, for, predation, or stalking type situations, but also financial situations, people, getting into your bank accounts and things like that. So it's not to instill fear in anyone or paranoia in anyone. But I think the point of everything that you shared is just doing what's best for you and knowing yourself in order to make those good choices.
Yeah. And I've heard several people say this, and I think it's just beautiful, and that is no is a whole sentence. That's it. No. And I don't have to explain. And if you don't take care of yourself, who's going to do it? Now, I've learned from the experience that I went through with domestic violence, how I have to take care of me. And now being in a healthy space, and even when I was trying to get to that healthy space, it's like, if I don't do what I need to be done for myself, who's going to do it? So if you don't take care of you, who's going to do it? If you don't say no, who's going to actually say, you know what, your plate is full, you need to sit down? So I've said no to several speaking engagements because I can't, because there's so much sometimes that overlaps. I still have a job. I work full time. I'm a full-time student. I'm a minister. I'm an advocate for domestic violence. I have my own nonprofit. There's a lot that I do. When I have a weekend that I'm home, I don't have anything to do. It's like I'm surprised because I'm always busy. I'm always doing things. And I do as much as I can do to my capacity. So one person may be overwhelmed with what I do, but I'm okay. But there are times when I have to say no because it's too much, because I need a break. And I've learned if I don't say that, nobody's going to do that for me. And I'm okay with not having a lot of people around me. I'm okay with not having a lot of friends. And I think we use the word friends loosely because everybody around you is not a friend. I can count on one hand how many people I will call a friend. And I'm okay with that small number. I'm okay with the confidence that, I have in my life with the people who I can depend on. I'm not trying to get anybody to like me. I'm not trying to get into anybody's space. If I'm supposed to be there, I'll be there. The Bible says your gift will make room for you. Well, if God wants me to be in a specific space, speaking to specific people about this issue, he'll make it happen. So I'm not trying to just throw myself out there, in an unhealthy way, trying to get attention to do what I believe I'm called to do. No, I believe that I'm called to do this. So doors will open and it'll happen. So I'm not trying to make friends. Networking is good. I understand that. But if I'm already at an event and there's ample time to be able to meet individuals, I get that. I understand that. But I'm not going out of my way trying to make things happen that puts me in a bad position, that drains me even further. So I'm willing to walk away from what other people will call opportunities. I just don't have a problem with that. Now, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with saying no and not giving explanations. If I can't do it, I can't do it. If I'm giving you an explanation, that's because, I really want you to know X, Y, and Z. That's because you're close enough to me, to get that explanation. But also, if you're close enough to me, you're not requiring an explanation of me. So that's that. That's my thoughts on that. The next question that I have gotten, I've been asked several times, am I afraid to tell my story? Am I in fear of retaliation? Am I afraid of some kind of attack or him coming after me? And my answer is always no. I'm not afraid of him. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm just not. Because this is my truth. And I think the truth by itself is just such a powerful thing. Like, this is my story. These things happened. This is what I believe God has called me to do. So I'm doing it. And I am clear with that. I'm okay with that. And again, I believe that this is a point where I really want to emphasize. I am very, very clear. I am okay with what I do, with how I do it. I don't have any kind of fear of a retaliation. If you do, then that's okay. You need to do what you need to do for yourself. Do not go on a public platform because this is what I do, because this is what Erin is doing, because what Jen is doing. No, there's a reason that we are able to do what we do. So I do not want to give anybody any kind of false pretense. but I truly am okay. And not only do I have the truth, I mean, I actually have witnesses to my story, to things, you know, that have happened. So if I needed to have, I don't know, if I needed testimony, if I needed anything, like there are individuals who would be able to verify, yes, this is what happened. These are the things that were going on. And it's not only me that knows this. I'm not the only one who knows the truth. I'm not the only one who knows that, you know, yeah, I do have witnesses. He knows that too. Um, and I think the last thing is that I will call the police if I need to, and he knows that. I will call the police. I will press charges, and I will see this thing all the way through to the end of prosecution if that's what's needed. Um, so for me, no, everything that I do, I do it with a clear conscience, with a clear mind, and I never do it. I want to say this too. I have never had an emphasis of hate towards him. I have never tried to just publicly just tear him down. That is never my intent. I don't have the energy for that. I don't have the time or the space for that. So unless you literally know me privately, you won't know who he is. I don't mention his name. I don't describe him. I don't say anything. I don't have to. I don't need to. That's not helping me, and that's not helping anybody else. So I've never just tried to purposely be vindictive and tear him down or try to pay him back or anything like that. I don't have time for that. That is not what I'm called to do. That is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And again, I think if that is your mindset, then you are still in a place of hurting and needing healing where you probably shouldn't be trying to help somebody else if your mind is tearing this person down, even if they're wrong for what they did. But if that's your focus, then you're not in a place to be able to help somebody else.
Oh my goodness. Fountain of wisdom tonight. Yes, yes, yes. All yes to that. Yeah, I mean, well, first off, can I ask you about the fear? And you don't have it now. Did you ever have it, and how did you change it?
So all right, so I'm thinking of another question, so I'll answer that question too. So in this case, this is a different type of fear. So telling my story, I'm not afraid to do that. I'm just not. It is what it is. This is the truth. I can speak it. Once I opened up, that was it. Once I decided I need help, I want help, this has to change, I was never afraid. Like once I overcame the thought of trying to get him help, trying to keep my family together. Once I was real, stood flat-footed, looked in the mirror like this, one of y'all gonna die. This has to change. I wasn't afraid of telling my story. But another question that I have been asked is, am I afraid to drop off my youngest child? Because he, as I said, he has a visitation a couple times a week. I drop her off and pick her up every week. In the beginning, there was a fear that I had being in his presence, being anywhere near him. Eventually, I got through that. So today I can say I'm not afraid when I drop her off and pick her up, but I am mindful. Like I'm not a dummy. I'm not turning my back. I'm not, I am wise about what I do. And even now, the way that I pick her up and drop her off, I don't get out of my car unless I have to. If I have to get out of my car, my back is not turned. The place where I drop her off is well lit. There's security inside the building and there are cameras inside that building. So I know anybody who is in that parking lot, they see what's going on. I know the security guards inside that building. And I actually chose the spot. I gave them two choices. We're going to meet here or we're going to meet at the police station. Which one do you want? And so again, it's a well lit area. security is inside, and I'm smart about what I do. When I drop her off and pick her up, my family knows that. So a particular date and time, they know what I'm doing. They know how long it takes me to do it and to get back in the house, or I'll say, hey, I'm going somewhere else. So people know, people close to me know what I'm doing. And I would say, I don't know how long it took for that fear of being in his presence. I don't know how long that took to go away. I would say years. I think I can say that. I think I can say that was a few years. Even when I knew, when I was absolutely sure, nothing is going to happen. It was still just a feeling that's just there, like that just doesn't turn off. So I would say that type of fear. I would say it took a few years, but I can't give a number. And I can say a few years because I'm remembering moments when I dropped her off and picked her up. Like I can remember like how big she was. So I know.
Yes. You have babies and they grow really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
To also just the second part of that of your intention is to not bring somebody down, whether their choices were bad or not. And so I think that's a really huge piece of being prepared to talk about your story, which is different than sharing, what's on your heart with a trusted friend or a therapist or somebody that needs to know the parts that you might not share publicly, right? So that's very different. But yeah, thank you for telling us that.
Yeah, and I think taking time to trash another person, even if they help you, even if they hurt you. I mean, if you're trashing the individual who hurt you, who abused you, in my mind, I think that's giving them still power. So I think it's one thing to tell your story, to use your story to be encouraging, to explain what happened. I think that's one thing. It's something different when your intention is to now I'm going to throw you under the bus. Now I want you to look just as bad as you are. So I'm trying to shine that light on your darkness and just make you look bad. That's a completely different mindset. And I think that is giving the person who hurt you, giving them your time and giving them your energy, and that person doesn't deserve that. So I would rather spend that time focusing on myself. If I'm still at that point where I can truly say that I hate you, then let me go work on that for myself. Oh, because there was a time when that hate was real. It was there. I did hate him greatly, but I worked on that within me. And again, even that hate really wasn't about him. That was my reaction to those things that happened. And I had to work through all of that. And for me, it was better to take my time and take my energy and work on myself, work on me. And today I'm in a completely different place. I'm further along in my life than I was, when I began this journey. I have much more by myself in a healthy place than I did. And I can look back and I can see that. And if I took my time and if I spent it just taking every moment that was available to me to just tear him down, I wouldn't be able to focus on myself. I don't have time for that. I got homework that's due. I have a job. I need to work. I have to take care of my child. I have to take care of my home. So I think when you do that, that gives a perpetrator or an abuser more time and energy and power that they do not deserve. And that is something that you have control over. And I'm not saying that your feelings aren't valid. I'm not saying that hate is not valid. valid and that it's not real, but I am saying you have to handle it in a healthy way for yourself. So another question that I get is about firearms. So I want to be very, very clear. If you purchase a weapon because you're in physical danger, you have much bigger problems than purchasing a gun will solve for you. So the way to deal with domestic violence is not to purchase weapons. So that is not why I have firearms. I did not purchase firearms for safety. That is actually a hobby for me. I like going to the range. I like different types of guns. I like being at the range when you're there. I mean, if you go to the range, you know what it's like. Like you're in your lane, you have to focus, you have to pay attention, you have to handle your weapon. It's just you. It's you and a target, and you need to hit the target. I don't want to ever just hit the target. I want to hit that target where I want to hit it. It takes focus. It takes a strength to handle the weapon that you're dealing with. And for me, I love that. That's one of the times. Hi, Aspen. That's one of the times that I can just be in my space, focus. I go to the range. Sometimes a couple people, will go with me. And so if I know somebody is going with me, I already know what it's going to be like. But I don't like somebody like just popping up, hey, I want to go with you, or people just coming over talking to me. Do not talk to me. Just like, I need to focus. Okay. I need to load this gun and I need to hit this target in front of me. To me, it's just being in a space where, it's just you. And I just enjoy that. I enjoy different types of guns. I just like it. That's just something that I like. I like fast cars. I like sports cars, muscle cars. I love big trucks, motorcycles. That's just me. And when I was able to go through my healing process, then I was able to not only learn myself more, but actually do the things that I like. The firearms aren't a new thing for me. I've always liked firearms, in particular kinds, and in going to the range with one of my friends, I used his firearm and I loved it. So it's like I always want like a different one for a different reason. And I was using his firearm, and he looked at the target where I hit it. He didn't look at my form or nothing. He looked at the target and he said, "Stop accounting for recoil, because I know you have to account for the recoil where the bullet may go." He said, "You don't have to do that." He said, "This gun right here, this gun is on point. You just," so I did it. And I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, I hit it exactly where it's supposed to be. But that was the type of weapon that he had. I like that. I hit paper and cardboard. People ask me, would I go hunting? No, I am not hunting. I am not looking for rabbits and deer. And if you do, great, that's you. That's not my thing. I'm strictly paper, cardboard. And for me, it's about focus, being in that space, being able to control that atmosphere. I think it's a good thing to know how to use a weapon, for safety purposes to have. But again, I do not believe it's a good idea to purchase a weapon, any type of weapon, because you're actually in physical danger and you think that that's going to be the answer to what's happening, because it's not. So, I mean, again, I like firearms just like I like fast cars. It's a thing that I do that I like.
Oh my goodness. Mic drop. That is so cool. I love how you just said, cut right to the chase of that is not what you do if you're in danger. Now, I know there might be people out there that disagree with that or may have had to do that in their lives based on their situations, whatever, where they're from, all these things. However, I think I want, I mean, can you say more about why you're saying that for you?
Yeah, because I've been specifically asked, because people are trying to decide what to do for themselves. So again, I am saying, do not do anything that I do or don't do just because I do it. You have to do what's best for you in your situation. I know people purchase firearms for all different kinds of reasons, but I'm telling you, I firmly believe because you're in physical danger, purchasing a weapon does not make that better. And if that's something that you do, you need to learn how to use that weapon. You need to keep that weapon stored. You need to know what you're doing. Shooting a weapon in a controlled atmosphere at a range is completely different than being on the street, in your home, if a situation just happens, and you feel like you just need to use it. It's different. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Either way, you need to know how to use the weapon. You need to be trained on it, because you don't just pull out a weapon and you just start shooting. Like I said, I was talking about recoil. You have to account for recoil. You need to know what you're doing. You need to know how to use that weapon. And that is why a lot of people, innocent bystanders, get hit, because it takes strength to use a weapon. A handgun, yeah, you have to have the strength. You have to have the strength to load that weapon. It's not easy. I mean, you eventually you get used to it if you own one, but it's not easy to just to load it, to put one in the barrel, and then it's more difficult than what people may say. Like, it's not television. It's not. So again, we are all able to make our own decisions. I encourage you to do what is best for you, but you need to do what's best for you with a clear mind and understanding what it all entails. Every weapon that I have a box. I have a safe that I have my weapons in, which that safe can be opened with a fingerprint, with a digital code, or with a key. So my kids or grandkids can't just go get it. You can't do that. So be careful and be safe. Make the best decision for yourself. But I still say, being in a physically dangerous situation, and you going to get a weapon, that's not the answer, because you need to be figuring out, how am I going to get out of this? Get out of this house, get out of this place, get away from this person, change locations, or do whatever.
Change your life, change your environment.
Plan. So getting a weapon to bring into that situation is going to escalate that situation.
That's right.
So again, I've been asked that question because people are like trying to figure out what they're going to do for themselves. So again, and not just me, anybody else. You don't look at somebody's life and do what they do just because they did it. Because you have to answer for yourself. Because I'm not going to be on trial for you or anybody else answering questions about why I have a firearm and you got one and you used it. That it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, perfect.
Let's see. So there are a couple more questions. I do want to get through at least two more before we go. Well, this would be a quick one, I think. I have been asked, and people made the statement, I have been asked, does he still love me? Or the comment was made to me, does he still love me? That has happened more than one time. And to that, I say, first of all, whatever he's thinking and feeling is none of my business. I have nothing to do with that, nothing at all. And then even more important to that, I say abuse is not love. It's not. So I don't know what these people see, what made them come to the conclusion to even ask that question or make that statement. But again, I have nothing to do with his thoughts and feelings. My life is my life. I'm doing what I need to do for me. And again, abuse is not love. And that abuse just does not change. So what I went through, even years later, nothing and nobody is going to convince me that, it's love now. No, no. So that was a quick one.
Well, yeah, and crystal clear, as you are so gifted at being, crystal clear, and abuse isn't love. And like that you said, that it's none of your business what his emotional state is at this point. And that is such a healthy way of communicating how complicated I think some of us can make that. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. I mean, well, for me, it's real easy. Yeah, that's it. It's just real easy. It's done and over. So
I think you have time for your last one.
yes. All right. Last question. So I've been asked, how long did it take me to be okay with being alone with myself? And I want to say about 2 to 3 years, because even though when I left, I had my children with me, so my house was not empty unless the kids weren't there for some reason. But when they weren't there, I couldn't be by myself. I could not just be alone. I was afraid to be in my own house. I did not like the quiet. I always had to have the TV on. Music had to be playing. There had to be some noise. There had to be something, and that was because I wasn't yet ready, and I didn't know how to deal with myself. Because once I was actually out of the situation and in my own home, then I had to, and I always say that this is the hardest part, then I had to start my healing process. I had to start processing all the pain, all the emotion that I had buried and stuffed down for years, all the emotion that I couldn't express and didn't know how to express. I had to start dealing with all that. I had to start dealing with questioning myself, living in hindsight. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Why didn't I do this sooner? I had to deal with all of that, and I didn't want to. And so it really took time. It took time with me talking to my counselors. I have 2 counselors. One counselor she's a Christian counselor, Love Bay Donna. You've met Donna. She's been on a program before. Donna's a Christian counselor, and she's like, for me, she's like the catch-all for everything for life. And then I have a specific counselor who deals with domestic violence. And so it took me working with both of my counselors and just going through life, learning how to live with myself, learning how to be with me. I had to forgive me. I had to love me. I had to take care of me. And it took some time to do that. That again, I've shared, there was a time I didn't leave the house. I went to work and I went to the market. That was it. Even when I got my car, I went to work and I went to the market. And then I started going out. So like when I went to the mall, that was a huge thing for me, to go to the mall, park my car, and walk around. And I remember when I started going to lunch by myself. I didn't really do, now I'll do dinner just because, I'm in a better space, but I really didn't do dinner because I didn't want to be out late. I didn't like being out at night. But little by little, I started doing those things. I started, I would go to the gym. I always loved the gym, but I would go to the gym and home. So it took some time for me to build up to that, to what was normal to other people. Those were huge steps for me. And again, it was because I had to become comfortable with myself. I had to learn myself. I didn't know myself. Like, and I've said this before, and all of this is in my book. I became a wife before I knew myself. We were 18 years old when we met, and we were 20 years old when we got married. I had my first apartment when I was 19. I did my freshman year at Drexel University. My sophomore year, I got an apartment in West Philly. He moved into my apartment. We were 19, and the next year, at 20, we got married. So I'd never lived alone. I'd never been by myself. I just did not have that. Like, I was always part of this couple, and I did all of that before I learned myself, who I am, what I want, what I like, what I don't like. And all those years later, it was like I had to be, that 17, that 18, that 19-year-old again, going through that process that I should have went through then, learning myself and becoming myself. I had to do that later. And so it took some time. And I want to emphasize that, when you make the decision to get help, when you make the decision to start your healing process, please don't think you're going to see a counselor and 3 weeks later, everything's going to be fine. I mean, you may start seeing a counselor and maybe you see him, talk to him a couple times a week or once a week or whatever the process is for you. But do not think that you're going to get, a few weeks or a couple months in and everything's going to be fine. It does not work like that. If you are honest about healing, if you are honest about getting to a better place and space, that takes time. And that time could be a year, 18 months, 3 years, 5 years. I believe that there should be progress that you'll be able to see, even if it's incremental steps. But please don't think that you're going to make these huge strides and everything's going to be good, like 3 weeks later. That's a fantasy world. That's a fantasy. So I can say, again, to answer the question, how long did it take me to be okay with being alone with myself? 2 to 3 years. And that was not just 2 or 3 years with me just being okay with going to the market and coming home. That was 2 to 3 years of me actually opening up to my counselors and talking and working through my issues and wanting to be better and actually doing things that will help me to get to that better space. Like, I was in that time working. And after that 2 or 3 years, I was still working. Like, even today, I'm still working on myself. I still have counseling sessions. Now, I believe, for me, at some point, they got to be further apart. Like, for me now, it's like when I talk to Donna, that's like a check-in, every once in a while, like making sure everything is good. Now I got to the point to where I felt like, all right, I'm okay. I don't need counseling, anymore. I'll just call whenever I need to. And things, not immediately, but things just went haywire again. So for me, counseling is something that I need. Like, I need that person that knows me, that I can check in with, that I can be open with, that I can be honest with. It may not be every week, but if I needed to talk to her every week, I'll do that. But I just know for me, it has to be at least within a few times a year that, I'm checking in, with her and moving forward in my life. That's what works for me. Now, if I don't do that, I stay inside my own mind, and the simplest things can just start running around and it'll just blow up on the inside of me. And that's just me. That's the kind of person that I am. Everybody is different. You have to know yourself. You have to know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And so I hope that this conversation was helpful.
So helpful. It was really powerful. I learned so much about your story and about who you've grown to be. And I think everybody listening must know the path that you've walked to be this strong and centered and clear in what you're what you're bringing and what you offer, and the support that you're giving all of us listeners and your community. So thank you, Pastor Tia.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. So, Erin, we are just over the hour a little bit. So, Love Babe, we want to say goodnight. Thank you so much. I really do hope that this was helpful. So, Love Babe, if you have any more questions for me, you can text them in. You can email. I will definitely answer your questions. But I noticed a pattern with these particular questions. I was asked several times, again, by men and women. So I hope that it was helpful. Love Bae, if you want to catch up on previous episodes of our program, you can visit our YouTube channel, Suffering in Silence DV. Thank you so much for joining Suffering in Silence with Pastor Tia. Thank you, Erin, for being here. We're here, Love Bae, every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we are continuing to rise out of the ashes together. Good evening.